afternoon, boys and girls. Today I'm giving you a geography lesson on Australia. Today we'll be doing your report on the country of Australia. So your report will be dealing with a couple different things. Part of it will be the landmarks of Australia, some famous things like the Sydney Opera House, a famous building where they have opera, the Ayers Rock, or called Uluru. It's a famous rock formation in Australia. Other parts of your report will include animals that you can only find in Australia. Things like kangaroo and certain species of jackrabbit. Things like wallabies, which are like tiny little bears, and koalas, of course. These are animals that you can only find in Australia. Now, the reason you can only find them there is because look where Australia is on the globe. Notice how it's so far away from the other continents. There's no continent that touches it. The bottom of Asia almost touches it, but it's almost like a huge island. Because it's a huge island, most of the animals on it could not travel to the other continents. They couldn't get away. And so there's lots of animals that only exist on Australia because they couldn't go over to other continents and then change and evolve over time. So animals like kangaroo you can only find in Australia because that's the only place they ever evolved. Same thing with koalas and things like the duck-billed platypus, animals you'll find when you do your research. Lots of different animals that are only in Australia because it's so isolated. So here's the map of Australia. Now, you should have researched this when we did our political map, but you can see it has different provinces. They're not exactly states like in the United States. They're different sections. They're more like provinces, what you call them. The whole continent itself is a country by itself, but it has different sections called provinces. Here's the Australian flag. You might notice something. That looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? That is part of the British flag. It's because Australia used to be a British colony, a part of land that was owned by a different country until it became its own country, and they have part of the British flag as their flag to honor the people that used to be in charge. But they customized it themselves and put in some white stars there. Right. Notice that even on Australia, you have different parts that are even more isolated, like Tasmania down here. Have you ever heard of the Tasmanian devil? That's an animal that only exists on this island and nowhere else in the entire world. Pretty amazing stuff. Same thing with this little island over here. This island is Madagascar. Madagascar, just like the movie, has those little lemurs, and the only place they live in the whole world is right there on the island. So as you're doing your research for Australian animals, you're going to find lots of animals that only exist in that continent. So I wish you good luck on your research. We'll be sending out little videos of information about Australian animals and landmarks, and we'll send out little papers that you can fill out for your work as well. So I look forward to seeing all your research. Thanks for coming. See you next time.